Hello, and welcome to the fourth installment of the Monroeville Public Library Summer Container Gardening Program for 2024. My name is Kevin Whitfield, and I'm a Master Gardener with the Penn State Extension. I'll be sharing a series of these discussions about growing vegetables in containers. This information can also be applied to growing these vegetables in a garden. I'll be talking about a different vegetable each week. The first recording in this series, which is about growing lettuce and spinach, contains reference resource information at the beginning. Please take a look at that for information on how to get help from your local master gardeners and from the Monroeville Public Library. Today, I'm going to discuss growing beans in a container. Beans are planted by placing the seed directly into the soil. No need to start them indoors first. Beans need warmth, full sun, and water to grow. As we are ending May, moving into June, it is an ideal time to plant your beans. There are two basic categories for beans, pole beans and bush beans. Either type can be grown in a container. Bush beans will grow to about 2 feet tall. Pole beans can grow up to 6 feet and therefore will need some form of a support to grow onto. Select a container that is at least 5 gallons, 12 to 18 inches deep. The container must have holes to allow for drainage. If you are reusing a container from some previous planting, be sure to sterilize the container before using it again. This can be done by a thorough washing to remove old dirt and debris. Then soak the container in a 10% bleach solution. This will kill off most pathogens that can lead to disease and issues. Rinse the container well, and it is ready for another planting. Before filling the container, you can cover the drainage holes with landscape cloth to help prevent the dirt from seeping out. This is not necessary, but can certainly be done. Then fill the container with your potting mix. Containers should always be filled with a soilless potting mix. Let me take a minute to describe what I mean by a soilless potting mix. Basically, this is any potting soil or potting mix that you can find in your local garden center. They are usually made up of a combination of peat moss or coconut coir with perlite or vermiculite, and sometimes with sand. You do not want to use topsoil or dirt that you dig up from your yard. These are dense materials that will not drain well and allow for root development needed by a container-grown plant. Plant your bean seeds to the depth listed on the packaging. This is typically 1.5 to 2 inches deep. As stated earlier, pole beans need a support structure to grow onto, such as a trellis. Install the trellis at the same time as you are planting the beans to avoid possibly injuring the roots if trellised later. For ongoing care, remember to keep an eye on the moisture in your container, as containers tend to dry out more quickly than a traditional garden. When the dirt feels dry, you should apply water. At the same time, you don't want to or need to overwater. Depending on the variety you are growing, the beans can be ready to pick in as soon as 50 days. Check the information on the package for days to maturity. Harvest the beans when they are young and tender. Carefully remove them from the plant, as it is easy to pull more than just the bean from the plant. Consider using a pair of scissors to cut the bean away from the plant for your harvesting. If you planted bush beans, these will produce their crop for about 2 weeks, then be finished. Pole beans will continue to produce until the fall frost, as long as you continue harvesting the beans. I hope you have enjoyed this segment of Summer Container Gardening and are ready to grow.